1.2. Evolution of creativity from a historical perspective. Creative culture has been the heartbeat of human civilization, expressing values, responding to challenges, and driving progress. Throughout history, societies have turned to creativity not just as a form of expression, but as a critical tool for problem-solving, communication, and innovation. This chapter explores how creative culture evolved across 6 key historical periods, each marked by significant contributions to human development: early civilizations, classical antiquity, the Middle Ages, the Renaissance, the Age of Exploration, and the Enlightenment. Ancient history, early civilizations. The earliest civilizations, such as those in Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Indus Valley, and China, laid the groundwork for creative culture by developing foundational technologies, art forms, and societal structures. In Mesopotamia, often considered the cradle of civilization, the Sumerians invented cuneiform, one of the earliest writing systems. This innovation not only facilitated record-keeping and communication, but also allowed for the creation of literature, like the Epic of Gilgamesh, which remains one of the oldest surviving works of literature. The Sumerians also built ziggurats, massive terrace structures that were both religious and political centers, demonstrating how creativity served both spiritual and administrative functions. In ancient Egypt, creativity was deeply intertwined with religion and the afterlife. The construction of the pyramids, most notably the Great Pyramid of Giza, required advanced engineering, mathematics, and organizational skills, reflecting a culture where creativity was mobilized to serve the state and religious beliefs. The Egyptians also developed a rich artistic tradition, seen in their detailed hieroglyphics, sculpture, and wall paintings that depicted gods, pharaohs, and scenes of daily life. These works were not merely decorative, but were imbued with symbolic meaning, representing the Egyptians' complex spiritual worldview. Meanwhile, the Indus Valley civilization, with its cities like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, demonstrated a different approach to creative culture. Their urban planning, characterized by grid layouts, sophisticated drainage systems, and standardized brick sizes, shows a creativity focused on functionality and communal living rather than monumentalism. In ancient China, creativity was driven by a harmonious blend of philosophy, politics, and art. From the early dynasties, Chinese civilization developed a deep tradition of combining scholarly pursuits with artistic expression. Confucian principles emphasized the importance of education, ethics, and social harmony, shaping a class of literati who saw artistic expression, particularly calligraphy, poetry, and painting, not just as aesthetic activities, but as moral and intellectual practices. The intricate brushwork in calligraphy and painting became both a spiritual exercise and a symbol of personal cultivation. The scholar-artist tradition also emphasized the relationship between creativity and contemplation, where the practice of art was closely tied to meditation, study, and the pursuit of wisdom. This holistic approach highlights a distinctly Chinese view of creative culture, where art was inseparable from ethics, philosophy, and personal development. Ancient history, classical antiquity. Classical antiquity, dominated by the civilizations of Greece and Rome, marks a period of exceptional intellectual, artistic, and philosophical growth that continues to influence Western culture today. The Greeks pioneered many concepts that underpin modern creative culture, particularly through their exploration of humanism, the study of human nature, and the pursuit of beauty and truth. In art, the Greeks developed idealized forms that emphasized proportion, harmony, and balance, as seen in the sculptures of the Parthenon. Their architectural achievements, like the Acropolis in Athens, set enduring standards for public spaces that combined aesthetics with civic pride. Greek creativity also extended into drama, with playwrights like Sophocles and Euripides exploring complex themes of fate, morality, and the human condition in works that still resonate today. In philosophy, figures like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle laid the foundations for Western thought, investigating questions about ethics, politics, and the nature of reality. Rome, inheriting much from Greece, applied creative culture in ways that supported its expansion and governance. Roman architecture, engineering, and law were all vehicles for expressing the power and authority of the empire. The Romans perfected the use of concrete, enabling them to construct vast infrastructures like aqueducts, bridges, and public baths that symbolized the reach and efficiency of Roman civilization. The Colosseum in Rome remains one of the most iconic examples of Roman creativity, a marvel of engineering and design that also reflects the culture's emphasis on spectacle and public entertainment. In literature, the Romans produced works that continue to influence storytelling and political thought. For instance, Virgil's Aeneid is both a literary epic and a piece of state propaganda that celebrates Rome's destiny to rule. Roman law was another significant contribution to Western civilization. The 12 Tables, a set of laws codified in the 5th century BC, were an important early step in developing a legal system based on written laws rather than oral traditions. Medieval history, the Middle Ages. The Middle Ages, often unfairly characterized as a dark age following the fall of the Roman Empire, were actually a period of dynamic cultural development, where creativity was deeply intertwined with religious devotion and community life. The Christian Church played a central role in shaping medieval creative culture, commissioning cathedrals, monasteries, and religious art that expressed the spiritual aspirations of the time. Gothic architecture, with its pointed arches, ribbed vaults, and flying buttresses, represents one of the most significant creative achievements of the Middle Ages. Cathedrals like Notre Dame in Paris and Chartres in France were not just places of worship, but also symbols of the community's faith and artistic ambition. Medieval creativity flourished in stained glass windows and tapestries, but perhaps the most significant form of art was the illuminated manuscript. These meticulously crafted books, such as the Book of Kells, were created by monks in monasteries, combining intricate illustrations with ornate calligraphy. More than just spiritual tools, these manuscripts served as educational resources that preserved knowledge through times of instability, ensuring the continuity of culture and learning. Beyond religious art, medieval society saw the development of vernacular literature. With works like Dante's Divine Comedy and Geoffrey Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales capturing the imagination of audiences with their rich depictions of human life and moral inquiry. The medieval period also saw the rise of chivalric romance, with tales of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table becoming central to the European literary tradition. Early modern period, the Renaissance. The Renaissance, beginning in Italy in the 14th century and spreading across Europe, marked a rebirth of classical learning and a renewed focus on the potential of human creativity. Humanism, the belief in the value and agency of human beings, was at the heart of Renaissance culture. This intellectual movement emphasized education, the study of classical texts, and the pursuit of knowledge across multiple disciplines. The Renaissance produced some of the most celebrated figures in art and science, including Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, and Raphael, who brought new levels of realism, emotion, and technical skill to their work. Leonardo's Mona Lisa and Michelangelo's David are emblematic of Renaissance creativity, blending technical mastery with profound humanistic expression. The use of linear perspective, pioneered by artists like Brunelleschi and Alberti, revolutionized painting by creating the illusion of depth, transforming the way visual space was depicted. Architecture also experienced a renaissance, with the construction of domes like Brunelleschi's in Florence symbolizing the merging of classical principles with new engineering techniques. The Renaissance was also a period of scientific innovation, with figures like Galileo and Copernicus challenging traditional views of the cosmos and laying the groundwork for modern astronomy. The invention of the printing press by Johannes Gutenberg in the mid-15th century was a pivotal moment for creative culture, making books more accessible and enabling the rapid spread of ideas. Works like Machiavelli's The Prince and Thomas More's Utopia reflect the period's engagement with political theory and social critique, showing how creativity was applied not only to the arts, but also to shaping the future of governance and society. Early modern period, the age of exploration. The Age of Exploration, 15th to 17th centuries, expanded the horizons of creative culture as European powers ventured into previously unknown territories. This period was marked by advancements in navigation, shipbuilding, and cartography, which enabled explorers like Christopher Columbus, Vasco da Gama, and Ferdinand Magellan to embark on global voyages. The encounters between European explorers and indigenous peoples led to both cultural exchange and exploitation, creating a complex legacy of creativity that included the introduction of new foods, artistic techniques, and ideas across continents. The Age of Exploration also stimulated the development of new artistic genres, such as still life painting, which celebrated the bounty of global trade through detailed depictions of exotic fruits, spices, and luxury goods. However, this period also saw the rise of Eurocentrism and the commodification of non-European cultures, as indigenous knowledge and resources were often appropriated and reinterpreted through a European lens. Early modern period, the Enlightenment. The Enlightenment, also known as the Age of Reason, was a period in the 17th and 18th centuries that emphasized rationality, science, and the questioning of established authority. The creative culture of the Enlightenment was driven by the belief that human beings could improve society through reason, education, and the application of scientific principles. Thinkers like John Locke, Voltaire, Immanuel Kant, and Jean-Jacques Rousseau challenged traditional power structures and advocated for ideas such as individual rights, democracy, and freedom of expression. The Enlightenment gave rise to a culture of debate, with ideas circulating widely through books, pamphlets, salons, and coffeehouses. Denis Diderot's encyclopedia was a monumental project aimed at compiling all human knowledge in a way that was accessible to the public, reflecting the Enlightenment's commitment to education and intellectual progress. In the arts, Neoclassicism became the dominant style, with artists like Jacques-Louis David drawing inspiration from ancient Greece and Rome to create works that emphasized civic virtue, order, and rationality. The Enlightenment also laid the intellectual foundations for the revolutions that would reshape the world, including the American and French revolutions. The Declaration of Independence and the Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen are both products of Enlightenment thought, expressing ideals of liberty, equality, and justice.